Okay, they pulled that off. Okay, they pulled off Subaru's speech. I assumed it was going to be Subaru that was going to do this speech, but I didn't think it was going to be that good. Like, it hits everything. It hits the idea of relating to the people, having those fears, not lying, getting himself in their shoes. Like, it feels like at first it's like that uncomfortable thing of like, yeah, I kind of know what he's doing here, but at the same time, nobody looks happy about what he's saying. Like, can you think about all the destruction you're causing before you even get to that point where you're going to pull them back up? But it nailed it. It nailed the idea of just getting in their shoes and saying, look, I'm in the same boat as you are. I know how you feel. Just look at somebody else. Like, I'm not expecting you to pick up something and start hitting things with it. Just look at somebody else. See what they're going through and don't look down. I think it was a really, really great speech in the end. I actually got emotional. The moment that you had everybody kind of looking at each other, and they have of course, the music playing in the background. I think it was fantastic. I got extremely emotional watching that whole segment. W Subaru moment. Like an absolute W Subaru moment. Like, he just absolutely pulled that off. He was the perfect person for the speech. Turning around, and everybody's just pretty much like, no, dude, that was good. That was exactly what you need to do. You did it. And again, I think they do kind of have a little bit of credit here when they first were deciding who was going to be on the Metia. Yeah. Is Anastasia going to be able to speak to people and then listen to her? Again, a lot of these people are commoners. These people that are hidden down there, and they're a majority probably going to be people that just aren't doing very well. They're not going to listen to some rich girl. They're not going to listen to some rich girl. Well, I mean, I don't know the context to how much Anastasia is with the people. And that's the biggest problem. We haven't really gotten too much in Anastasia and seeing, what do the commoners think of Anastasia herself? It does seem like people are prosperous in this city, and she is obviously a part of one of the groups that is the top tens of this area. But at the same time, do they care to hear what she has to say? Would they care what Julius says a night? Are they going to care what he says? Yeah, technically, in the end, Subaru is the best choice for the whole situation. And I do like the idea that Al, this episode and Al, there's just too much hinting going on with Al right now. It's not even funny. But Al being there to kind of be the opposite, to give him that little bit of a way out. Hey, you have a way out. You're just like everybody else here. They're probably, scared. That's too much. That's too much to put on one person's shoulders. Most everybody here is not going to be able to carry that burden. What makes you think that he can? Garf get all mad. Garf in this episode. He gave him a way out, and that was a way of almost encouraging Subaru to make Subaru kind of go, look, no, I that is true, but I can carry that. I can carry that, despite the fact that yes, technically, what comes with that is the responsibility that if you're going to carry everybody else's burdens, if you're going to carry that weight, and if you're going to possibly lose, it's going to be everybody, not just yourself. Well, that's sort of what Subaru says, but anyways, really good episode. But yeah, we got to talk about the elephant in the room. Al. We got to talk about this elephant in the room, Al. My gosh, dude. Yeah, Al is more and more so kind of leaning for me as being, I don't know how, in which way. I think he's Subaru. I'm starting to think that this dude is Subaru. And there's main reason for that, and that's obviously because the shorts that they released here recently are just heavily implying it. For those that have missed it, the shorts are pretty much covering all the skip content of the series, and one specific big skip content thing they did in those shorts that was apparently pretty much talked about, like, I think in the period of season 1. In these little shorts, they have Al reveal that he is an Isekai too, along with Subaru. Not along with him, but he's also an Isekai. And they kind of sussed it out by Al kind of giving all these different phrases from these little poems, whatever, and Subaru would finish them. And then, yes, he goes, yeah, I'm an Isekai too. And he thought that he was crazy, and that Subaru being here has sort of kept him from going crazy. Like, he no longer thinks those memories from his previous life are just a figment of imagination, that he's going crazy. But during those shorts, it hinted at something. At some point, you have him calling Beatrice something, and she gets mad. Like, don't call me that. You're not allowed to call me that. And he's like, yeah, I know. It kind of implied this idea that he has a familiarity with her. Now, it could be that Al just knows Beatrice. Like, they've known each other from the past, like before Subaru, took her in and everything. Way back there, maybe back with Ekidona or something like that. He could have known her back then. But there's a familiarity here in how he talks to her. Like, he's being familiar. Plus, additionally, and this is the other thing that kind of tips it off, when Emilia shows up in the short, she calls out to Subaru. Al immediately goes to leave. Like, oh, he goes, I gotta go see my princess. It's almost as if he was trying to avoid Emilia. And that didn't really kind of stick too much in my head until this episode. It really feels like in this episode, there's almost an emphasis here that Al feels a lot of what Subaru's going through. And it could just be an aspect that Al just feels a familiarity as to what Subaru is going through based on the idea that he's gone through similar things as Subaru. Like somebody's expected a lot from him. He put too much on his shoulders at some point and he failed. But that's sort of what connects it for me. Now, there's two different scenarios here that I can feel. It could be a future Subaru thingy, because he's bulk, he's big and tough and everything, and he's very much so more established. And yes, he's covering his head all the time to kind of hide his identity there. But there could be a thing here where sometime way in the future, something happens and Al comes back to the past, and now he's hanging out with Subaru. And so you have basically two Subarus in this scenario. The other scenario that I have, and this could go into the idea of how much Al is being sort of negative about the situation. And it could also explain why he's with Priscilla. Because if this is Subaru, why the hell is he not with Emilia? Why, if he's from the future or whatever, why would he not be with, hanging out with Emilia and trying to protect her? He's with Priscilla. Why? I believe there's a possibility that Al is from the future, but he's from a failed timeline. That's the key thing there. I think he's from a failed timeline. I think he's from a timeline where Subaru failed to protect the ones he loved, but didn't die. Or he couldn't reset to a point that would have been satisfactory. Most likely a timeline where Emilia died. And that Subaru was so broken by this, but kept going forward. And then somehow figured out how to come back in time or something like that. And now he's here. And now, or somebody sent him back in time to this time period. Which would kind of tell me why he's sort of avoiding Emilia. He doesn't seem like he wants to be around Emilia. It doesn't seem like he wants to talk to her. And again, he's now with Priscilla. Why would he be with Priscilla? Again, that question keeps popping in my head. Why is he with her? Now, it could be simply that he just knows that he can't be around Emilia for some reason. He's working in the background to help things out. That would be why he would pick up this locket, the Metia, and start to talk to Emilia. He doesn't seem like he just immediately closes and crap, it's Emilia, I don't want to talk to her. But it could just be that, and it says it right at the very beginning. When he picks up that Metia, he says, there's no response. This isn't going how I was told it would. Two things happening here. One, he's told how things will play out in order to assist in the background, or at least be there. Or he has one of these tomes. He's working for the cultists. That's the other possibility here. Now, Priscilla is fighting these things, so the assumption here is that Priscilla herself is not working with the witches cult. Now, it could just be these are monsters that are attacking her, and she ain't gonna have it. Like, they're just doing their own thing. She's working for them, but they just don't know that she's working for them. But I think there is a good sign here that Al is either working for the cultists, or he has an idea of how history itself played. He just possibly wasn't there at the time to know exactly how everything plays out. So he's there from the future. He knows it's going to go unfold, but he's going based on what people said happened at which time, and that's why the information isn't going how he was told it. I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities here, but I think based on just how he acts and how much more tough he is, I think he is a future Subaru from a timeline where he lost Emilia, but the question mark's still going to remain is, what is he doing? What is Al doing here? What is his purpose if it's not to save Emilia? Is his purpose to help Priscilla because he knows in the future if Emilia does win the royal selection? Does he know that if she wins the royal selection, it's going to go bad? So he's avoiding Emilia. He doesn't want to harm her, but he wants to get Priscilla to win because he feels that she's the best one for the future of the kingdom. Like, he found out at some point in the future that Priscilla was the best option, and so he's undoing that while avoiding Emilia. That's kind of my prediction that I'm going with right now. But it's interesting. It's super interesting. And again, I almost feel like I kind of wonder at this point if the shorts tipped their hand a little bit too much, because it just felt like with that context from those shorts, those two shorts that I watched, going into this, everything's clicking now. It's all kind of making sense as to this has got to be Subaru. It's got to be Subaru. Or at least somebody that is close with Subaru. It could also be somebody that's just close with Subaru, seeing what Subaru went through, and now he's helping out. But either way, I just think that he's from the future. He knows too much about Beatrice. He's way too familiar with her. He knows what makes Subaru click, and he's relating with him too much. And the idea of the weight of the situation, too much burden put upon his shoulders, how that can break somebody, how that can be too much to expect from somebody, and how that's just kind of could possibly bring Subaru down. Again, he's giving him a way out. And yeah, Subaru takes that, the idea of, oh yeah, it was your own way of kind of encourage me. Thank you, man. I wouldn't be able to do it without you. Yeah, bro. Yeah, I don't know. Super interesting stuff, though. Super interesting stuff. I did like that little conversation that he had with Emilia at the very beginning, with the Metia, talking to her, and she's just laying out everything. I want you to do this. Can you tell Subaru about the towers? Can you tell about this? And he's like, wait, aren't you missing something here? Girl, you got to worry about yourself. And again, there's that whole thing of like, I think if he is from a different timeline, this is probably something that's kind of unexpected for him. Why is this Emilia so brave? Why is she so strong? Why is she being the I like how you kind of points out the idea. You're being the upper cheery, the joyful cheery version of yourself, but you got to chill out and wait for your night, right? No, I'm fine. I'm good. Just tell him that I got everything here handled. Girl's trying to not be a burden. She's like, no, I got this stuff handled. I'll take care of it. Now it does get into the idea that later on, Emilia sort of starts to kind of fall, and that's really through 184. How she's kind of giving up on even being involved with this stuff. And then she kind of gets that encouragement back from Subaru. No, I almost thought that I was alone for a minute there, but I'm not alone. I have Subaru. He's rooting for me. He's there. He's telling me not to, downcast my gaze, get my chin up, and get my butt in the game. Get my butt in the game. The stuff around 184, I hope they do something good with it. I really hope they do something good with 184. So far, it's kind of like, yeah, I got it. It's fine. I mean, it's super tragic, but at the same time, I'm really hoping for a nice punchline with this stuff. It looks like Emilia wants to go through with this wedding, and I'm assuming there's a possibility that she wants to, I don't know, enact a plan when they do go to get wed. Like maybe set up some sort of trap inside of the cathedral with the girls, trap them. I just don't know how. It's just one of those things where like I just don't know how this girl gonna be able to fight Regulus. I as much as I want to root for Emilia, it's like, what is she gonna do? This dude's insane, and her alone. Like with all these fights, it's always them in a group. Like even with Betelgeuse required everybody together. It required Julius. It required Subaru. It required Otto. They all fought together to take down Betelgeuse. It wasn't just him alone. So with some, and it feels like to me. Now, I can honestly say they probably all are equal power, but it feels like somebody like Regulus seems incredibly more powerful than somebody like Betelgeuse. They fought each other before. Now, granted, it was when Betelgeuse first took upon himself the factor of sloth, and he just didn't know how to use it. But Regulus was doing pretty damn well in taking down Betelgeuse. He was doing just fine by himself. So I don't know. I don't see it, but at the same time, in that last shot, you had Emilia, and she was grabbing towards a gem that used to have Puck in it. Maybe she has a plan to bring back Puck. That would be great. Please, please bring back Puck. I miss Puck so freaking much, dude. I miss Puck so freaking much. I want some Puck action back in here. But yeah, that whole segment with 184, it's fine. Again, it kind of gets into what Regulus did with these girls, is that he pretty much erases everything about everybody that knows them, erases them and forces them to have to be his. Now, it gets into the idea that she was going to allow Emilia to escape. Why'd you come back? Like, that was such a cute scene. She's just trying to keep the thing iced. And then she comes in there. She like covers it up. Oh, I wasn't doing anything. Oh, this is my bed. Oh, it's too cold. Wait, it's not cold. It was too cute. Emilia tried to be some sort of like covert ops or something like that, trying to the master of disguise, and completely terrible at it. It was super cute. I don't know how she immediately made the ice Emilia disappear within a split second, but maybe she just kind of made it disperse or something like that. I don't know. It just disappears randomly. But it gets in the idea that she was going to allow Emilia to escape. It seemed like it was her last-ditch effort to save somebody. You're in the same shoes as everybody else before us, and me, myself. And I wanted you to get away. I was going to take the punishment to let you get away, because it seems like what she said, it almost sounded like she knows that her death is coming. Like she's due to die. And that could be what that whole conversation where he nearly killed her before, she just assumes I'm dead already. Like the next chance he gets, he's probably going to kill me. When you're not in the room, he's probably going to kill me. That's just how he is. She's waiting for it. she wanted to help Emilia get away. This is my last attempt to get somebody else out of here. At least you'll be happy kind of thing. But it kind of seems like she's kind of went back into it, and the idea that I won't do it again. I'm going to get back in line. I got that courage, but I can't. She had that courage to let Emilia go, but she can't anymore. Like, I have to get back in line. I'm afraid. In the end, she's still afraid. This girl is still human. This girl is still human, I think. I think she's human. But yeah, it's tragic. But there was a question that I kind of popped in my head last week, and I'm kind of continuing it this week, because I'm wondering if these girls are even... He asked them if they're virgins, and that was a perfect thing. Like, Emilia being a virgin was necessary in order to stand at his side. There's a side of me that almost wonders if... I know this is kind of a weird thing to go down. I wonder if he's a virgin too. I wonder if the necessity for them to be virgins is so they can stand at his side, and that it's not like a thing where he wants virgins so that he can do something to them. I wonder if he requires things around him to be as perfect, as pure as he is, even though he's not pure. That was kind of a random question mark. Not that it matters either way. I mean, it could be a story beat stuff later on, but it's just a random curiosity I had. But no, I hated during the speech because, yes, I like that it encourages Emilia. It encourages a bunch of people. You have Felt over there and everything like that. But a brief shot of Heinkel. That damn dude, the father of Reinhard, got out. Felt, why did you entrust that guy to one of the most random dudes possible, and he ends up losing him? I don't know how, but somehow that dude gets a hold of a bottle and cracks it over the guy's head, and now he's free. I'm mad. You let Heinkel go. Like of all the things that we're doing right now with this whole situation, we're gonna have him being grumpy dad. I don't know. Maybe him getting free, he's gonna do something heroic and save the day, and then that'll, I don't know, save my perspective of him in the slightest little bit. But I did like get a brief little shot of Priscilla and Liliana. Priscilla's like swinging her blade to get the blood off it or something like that. She turns around and Liliana just attached to her back. We have a little Liliana backpack the entire time. It was dorky. I loved it. But no, I almost forgot. When they were talking about the idea of using the Metia to begin with, it was very interesting that Al points out, well, they were afraid of using it because they were afraid that the moment they started broadcasting, they were going to attack. Not just that, but they were afraid that the response of the witch's cult would be to release the floodgates, open them up again, and not close them back up. And Al was pointing out the idea that, and again, this goes into what it seems like his knowledge of the witch's cult, and the idea that he knows that these people see us as ants. They're not going to respond because they don't find us a fear of us winning. We can do whatever we want. They don't care. And that does technically speak volumes to how they've kind of perceived these characters to begin with. Like, every time we have these archbishops, they don't care. Like, they play with everybody. Whenever we have a fight with Subaru and them, they play with them. When we had Reinhard fighting with them, plays with them. They don't really see anything as really a threat. And again, it technically goes to their books. These gospels are how things are supposed to play out. They have to play out that way. It has to play this way. This isn't in the book. Pedalgeuse was really big on that. It's not in here. It's not in here. All that kind of stuff. So that technically makes sense. But speaking of the towers, though, they got into a little bit into the one that actually opened that flooded the area. They were pointing out the idea that it seemed convenient. And that's weird. Because yes, technically when Subaru was in there with Capella and the dragon suddenly busts out, it grabs Subaru, it grabs Krush, it gets out of there, and then suddenly at the same time, the floodgates come out, and then it closes. And that's, I guess, a good point to make. Why did it open and then immediately close? Now, my assumption there is that the book told him to do that. It told him to scare him a little bit. Open it very briefly and close it back up. But again, Regulus was mad. He didn't like that the gate was open. It wasn't supposed to be opened. It implies the idea that was not expected. Now, the question mark I had was who was heading each of the towers. So far, again, we've seen greed, gluttony, wrath, and lust. We've seen those four so far, those archbishops. And the assumption was that one of them was heading each one. Now, granted, we know that it's not lust. We know it's not greed. They're not at that tower. That wasn't theirs. So my assumption is it was going to be either gluttony or wrath. But that's assuming those two will have a tower. There could be others here which gets into my massive question mark. Is there a new sloth? And yes, with these other ones, could it be one of the other archbishops? There's still a possible archbishop of vanity. We still haven't seen a pride, even though Pedigoose said that he thought that Subaru might be him. And there's still a possibility of there being an envy one. So there's still other possible archbishops based on the witches that we have seen so far. And that could be one of them. Or it could just be, yes, wrath or gluttony. And in that case, why would gluttony do it? I don't see gluttony doing it. There's literally no reason for gluttony to have done that. Now, wrath, I can see. If Wrath had a brief moment of wanting to save Subaru, and I don't know how they would think that opening the floodgate would help that. That's the weird thing about this assumption they're having, is that it seemed convenient how the gate was open and closed. It helped us escape. I don't see it being that, because that seems a little bit too convenient. I think it's just sort of a thing that happened with it. But the question mark is, why did it open? I have a thought process that it may have been Al. That Al opened it. That he opened the gate very briefly and closed it back up, knowing what was happening in there, and then later on he goes over and he gets the Metia. I don't know. That, again, this is going to the idea that it seems like Al knows what's happening. He has something that tells him what is foretold, and again, it could be that he has their book. He has their book, or again, he could be from the future and has history wrote about what happened in certain locations there. He just doesn't know the full picture of anything that he didn't directly see at the time. Anyway, yes, I forgot to talk about it, but yes, I loved Garf coming in there. The moment that Garf seen a boss, it just runs up there and does a total Mimi Glomp. Dude, we got a Mimi Glomp from Garf. I was like, smile from ear to ear, dude. I was like, oh my gosh, dude, Garf, Mimi rubbing off on that boy. Mimi rubbing off on that boy. He getting all emotional. He's super like into like, you know, protecting his family. Like everybody, all of them are like his family now. And he's just totally happy that he sees Subaru again. I was just too overjoyed when I seen him run in there. And yes, on top of that, towards the later part, having Otto come in, just kind of dragging in Reinhard. Just, oh yeah, by the way, I got a Reinhard here. Hey, anybody looking for a Reinhard? I'm just coming here casually dropping the nuclear weapons in here. Here you go. Here's a Reinhard. And then Reinhard comes in there and goes, sorry for my belated entry. And then suddenly he just like boosts up his aura just to freaking, I don't know, show off in front of him. He got to flex a little bit. Like, don't worry, I'm here now. Flex. I was like, damn, dude, Reinhard. Guy's too damn hot. One more episode left. That sucks. I'm guessing we're just going to have like another kind of build up point. And then we're going to have like a 3-month gap before it comes back. I'm heartbroken. It's going to suck. We're going to have a nasty drop-off point. I was kind of fearing this, that we're going to have this point in which just stops before everything gets crazy, and they're totally going to do it. They're totally going to make us wait 3 months before it comes back for the actual fight, which it is what it is. I want them to take their time. If they needed this gap in order to do that, I would have rather them just wait longer. Wait until winter and start the series. Just that way you can broadcast the entire season. I hate it. Anyways, that's my thoughts on the episode. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and y'all take care.